If you are unexperienced with your own mortality, you will panic and getting yourself killed. What is one piece of advice that could potentially save my life one day? The more colorful and vivid an animal is, especially insects, the more likely it is that it's poisonous and you shouldn't try to eat it. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight and off of the trigger until you intend to fire. Keep your weapon in safe until you are ready to fire. If it acts like a cult, looks like a cult, and feels like a cult, then it's probably a cult. I have so many friends that I thought were intelligent people who have gotten involved in pyramid schemes. I've got a plan to take advantage of it though. I'm going to write a book on how to market products to your friends using social media, and then I'm going to contact all my friends in pyramid schemes and sell them the book. Then I'm going to convince them they can make money selling to book up their pyramid. Think about it. Someone has already gone through all the trouble to find the gullible people, and I just take advantage of all their work and their business structure. If you are about to get hit by a car that's not going above 55 miles an hour, jump, don't dive to the side. Hitting the hood and windshield at an angle will disperse the force. If you dive to the side, you might be too late, or the driver might swerve to avoid you and end up hitting you. If you're not on a highway, assume they are not exceeding 55 miles an hour. Then, try to dodge. A hit at an angle will kill you at those speeds. Before making any big decisions, you should always masturbate. Kanyatemu is the period after orgasm when a man is free from sexual desire and can think clearly. The Japanese have it all figured out. Do you want to marry her? Just give me a second, fap. Yeah, nah, I think I don't really want that. Ciao. If someone has a health-related emergency in public, instead of yelling someone, call 911. Yell something slightly more specific but still something semi-general like, hey you in the black shirt. Call 911. This is because if you just say it regularly, then people are less inclined to and just assume someone else is already doing it. If they relate to the detail, they have a larger chance to call because they think you're talking to them. Disclaimer, this was in a previous video already, but I find it should be repeated, as it can save someone's life. You only get one body, so stop smoking and start exercising. Until you're in your 50s with kids, having long since realized that the stuff that was cool in your 20s isn't so cool anymore. Unfortunately, the damage is irreversible. You die early and leave your family up to their eyeballs in medical bills. Always know where the emergency exit is. Even in a hotel or airplane. In a smoke-filled hall, it is good to know which way to go. If someone passes out or is incapacitated for whatever reason, the recovery position is on your side, with bottom arm supporting head, top leg and arm out forward, bottom leg a little backwards, knees slightly bent. It might save your life if you go to bed like that when you're drunk, I suppose. When I was 16, I came downstairs in the middle of the night and heard a gurgling noise that turned out to be my younger brother blacked out, on his back, choking on his own throw-up. I'm so glad I found him then rather than later. A .50 caliber sniper round is rendered non-lethal if it must pass through 3 feet of water. Source: Mythbusters. Firing said round at point blank into a swimming pool. It expended all its energy within 3 feet and became totally non-lethal. Don't panic when caught in a riptide, and do not swim towards the shore as soon as you're stuck in one. When caught in a riptide, in the ocean, swim parallel to the shore instead of towards. Being stuck in a riptide is like being stuck on a treadmill that you can't turn off. Generally riptides are 100 feet wide, so swim parallel of the shore until you are out of the riptide. You will get pulled out more during this time, but don't panic. Panicking is the worst thing you can do. Don't ever drink water from a lake or river. Because if you do, Dysentery Gary will come visit you. Alternatively, if you're about to die of thirst and see a stream, drink from it. Doctors can fix dysentery, they can't fix dead. Never put out a grease fire with water. Try to smother the fire with a pan lid, or use a fire extinguisher if the fire is bigger. Knowing how to control a car that is skidding or hydroplaning. I don't want to offer advice because I only know how to control my own car when it's skidding, and my advice might end up killing you instead of saving your life. Knowing how to control my car has saved me from spinning out when I've skidded and avoid slamming into something. However, the first time I skidded when I was a kid, I didn't know how to control it and got into an accident. Let off the gas and gear down, even in an automatic, if you lose control. Sliding in a front-wheel drive? Give it a little gas and steer back onto the path you're on. Wheels will pull you. Give everyone space. Try to keep an empty space on all sides for you to maneuver in. I use this all the time. Merging is a snap. I can always move over, speed up or slow down. Don't let anyone box you in. Their stupid mistakes shouldn't put you at risk. Drive like you could be surrounded by maniacs. If you drop anything hot or sharp, clothing iron, curling iron, knife, etc., do not try to catch it. Seriously, don't. I was taking cooking lessons from a family friend who happens to be a chef, and one of the things he said that stood out to me was, a falling knife has no handle. If you are ever trapped in a car underwater and you don't have a safety hammer, then use the metal part of the headrest or the seatbelt to break through the window. Unless the entire car is underwater. Only when the car is partially submerged is it impossible to open the doors. Once completely submerged, you should have no issues opening the door. Source: Mythbusters. How to fall properly. I took Aikido this spring and the one thing my instructor wanted us to get out of it, even if we forgot everything else, is how to fall without breaking your wrists or nose. We have the instinct when we are falling forward to put our hands out. They smack the ground, hurt or break the wrist, then your elbows bow outwards and your face comes next to the pavement. The way we were taught was when we fall, to use our entire forearms to take the impact. Put your index fingers and thumbs into a diamond so your forearms are angled outwards, while turning our heads to the side while falling to prevent the front of your face from hitting the ground. When your arms hit the ground, let out a loud noise or kya. I know that sounds stupid or silly, but letting out a loud noise or exhale like that helps to push air out of your lungs. We tend to hold our breath in when falling, which can cause our organs to bounce around or get injured from the pressure when you impact the ground. Worst case, your arms get scratched up or sting a bit and maybe you hit your head slightly. Canned food can be opened by scraping the top against a rock. If you are ever caught in an avalanche and are buried under snow, spit to find out which way is up, otherwise you might end up digging yourself further downward. If you're near an oil well and smell rotten eggs, run as far upwind as fast as you can. Scariest thing is that just because you stop smelling it doesn't mean you're safe. Sour gas attacks your nervous system and one of the first things to go is your sense of smell. Hydrogen sulfide or H2S is a very poisonous gas. If the person you are dating has an extreme overreaction to rejection, they could be a nonviolent type with borderline personality disorder. Or they could be the type of person with borderline personality disorder who will resort to anything in a moment of rage. Don't eat polar bear liver. It will kill you. It contains toxic amounts of retinol, vitamin A. This also applies to the liver of walruses, seals, moose, and husky. If you're starving, look for plants with vaguely heart-shaped indentate leaves. If you find one, break off a bit and smell it and roll it between your fingers. If it smells funny or minty and has a square stem, it is a member of the mint family and is edible. Before you pick a section though, look for spines. Stinging nettle looks similar to this. Moss grows on the north side of big things. It's not always accurate, but as a majority it is correct. In the northern hemisphere anyways, in the southern hemisphere it is the south side. Always carry a small knife and magnifying glass. But in actuality, if you're ever lost in the jungle or forest, and nobody knows that you're there, your first priority should be to find water, then follow its flow. Theoretically, you will eventually come across some sort of establishment. If you live in a cold climate, keep a good sleeping bag or spare coat in your car along with a few meal bars. If you're ever trapped in a snowstorm, bundle up and sit tight in your car. Don't panic, plan. I almost died in a really rare dive accident. As it happened, I had rescued 14 others over the years and knew the ravages of panic. So I planned my own rescue, to the minute, as a way to stave off panic. Amazingly, it worked like a charm. In spite of an urge to rip my regulator out and run for the surface, I completed my necessary procedures and surfaced behind the boat as planned. When stuck in your car in a snowstorm, remain in the car. Keep a window cracked and run the heat if you can. But if the car is running, check periodically that the snow has not covered or clogged the tailpipe. Snow drifts can form and change quickly in a windy blizzard, and if your tailpipe gets blocked, you won't have many indicators at all: headache, confusion, before you'll fall asleep and die. Put on your own oxygen mask first, advice given by airlines to those looking after small children under their care. Applies to all areas really. If you're not functioning, for lack of oxygen, How the hell can you offer any proper help to someone else? Works for mostly all eventualities. The first thing to know about any life or death scenario is this: if you are not experienced in suffering your own mortality, you will panic. Be prepared for it. You must, above all things, be self-aware. It will keep you from getting yourself killed. Have a code word or sentence with your friends or family so whenever you feel like you're in a dangerous situation, you can communicate that to others without giving it away, and escape without causing a scene. Don't just listen to advice from strangers on the internet. Instead, learn to question things and become a critical thinker. Advice like the one in this video should always be double-checked before applying any of it. Thanks for listening to Radio TTS. Consider a subscription if you like these videos and want to see more of them. And please let us know if any of the advice is false. Feel free to debunk the wrong ones and add ones that have not been mentioned in the video.